A dog's bark scares off a lion and saves a girl in the wild. Okay guys, welcome to our channel. Coming up next, we have a young girl who is walking through the wild with her dog. But little does she know, she is being stalked by a hungry lion. Will the dog be able to save the day? Let's jump into the video. A young girl named Leanne was taking her dog for a walk. She lived on the edge of a wildlife preserve, and sometimes they would go exploring. This particular day, Leanne was bored of the same old route and decided to venture off the beaten path. She knew there was a stream nearby and thought it would be fun to check it out. Little did she know, this would end up being one of the scariest days of her life. Leanne had been walking for about an hour and was getting pretty deep into the woods. The sun was shining through the leaves and onto the forest floor. It was peaceful and quiet, but that didn't last long. All of a sudden, Leanne heard some heavy footsteps behind her. She turned around and saw a massive lioness with her 2 cubs. They were staring right at her. The lioness took a step forward and let out a loud roar. Leanne was petrified. Her mind went blank, and she couldn't move or speak. The lioness continued to take steps toward her, and Leanne could feel her heart pounding in her chest. The adrenaline was rushing through her body, and she felt like she might pass out. Then, suddenly, her dog, Bolt, stepped in front of her, barking furiously. The lioness stopped in her tracks and slowly backed away. As the lioness retreated, she kept glancing back at Leanne and her dog. Leanne was still frozen in fear, but after the lioness disappeared into the bushes, she finally started to come out of her shock. She looked down at Bolt, who was still barking and pacing in front of her. She knelt down and hugged him, thanking him over and over again for saving her life. Once she calmed down a bit, Leanne realized that she needed to get out of the woods as fast as possible. She grabbed Bolt's leash, and they started walking away from the clearing where they had encountered the lioness. As they walked, Leanne couldn't help but think about how close she had come to being attacked. She had never seen a lioness in the wild before, let alone one that was stalking her. She knew that if it weren't for Bolt, she wouldn't be alive to tell the story. When they got home, Leanne's parents were frantic. She had been gone for hours, and they had no idea where she was or what had happened to her. As soon as they saw her and Bolt, they rushed over to make sure that she was okay. Leanne told them everything that had happened, and they were shocked. They had no idea that their daughter had been in such danger. They all went to the local wildlife officials to report the incident, but nothing could be done. The lioness and her cubs had disappeared, and there was no way to find them. Leanne and her family were left shaken, but grateful that Leanne had been okay. In the aftermath of the attack, Leanne became a local hero. Everyone in her small town knew about her encounter with the lioness and how her dog had saved her life. She was even interviewed by local news stations and magazines. But despite all the attention, Leanne was just happy to be alive and to have her dog by her side. Now, when Leanne and her family go for walks in the woods, they always make sure to go with a group of people, and Bolt goes everywhere with them. He's become a local celebrity in his own right, and has even been featured in several dog shows. One day, Leanne and her family were hiking in the woods when they came across a small clearing. In the middle of the clearing was a small cave that they had never noticed before. Leanne was curious, so she walked over to the cave and peered inside. Suddenly, she heard a familiar sound, a low growl. She froze in her tracks and slowly backed away from the cave. Just then, a large shape emerged from the cave and started walking towards her. Leanne screamed and took off running. She could hear the creature behind her, gaining on her. She could feel her heart pounding in her chest and her breath catching in her throat. She didn't dare look back to see what was chasing her. She just kept running, desperately trying to put as much distance between herself and the creature as possible. Finally, she burst out of the trees and into an open field. She could hear the creature crashing through the underbrush behind her, but she was safe. When she turned around, she saw that she had escaped by only seconds. It was a large male lion, and he had looked very angry. Leanne was shaken, but she knew that she had to do something. She couldn't just stand there and wait for the lion to catch up to her. She had to fight back. She reached for the bear spray that she had clipped to her belt and started backing away from the lion. The lion took a step forward and roared. Leanne took a step back and raised her bear spray. The lion hesitated, and in that moment, Leanne knew that she had to act. She took a deep breath and sprayed the lion directly in the face. The lion roared in pain and surprise, and he quickly backed away from Leanne. Leanne stood her ground, and the lion eventually gave up and disappeared into the trees. Shaken but unharmed, Leanne decided to make her way back to the hiking trail. She was nervous, but she knew that she had to get out of the woods as soon as possible. As she walked, she couldn't help but think about how close she had come to being attacked. She had never seen a lion in the wild before, let alone one that was stalking her. She knew that if she hadn't had her bear spray, she wouldn't have been able to defend herself. As she finally reached the safety of the hiking trail, Leanne vowed to never forget this experience. She knew that she had been lucky to escape the lion's attack unharmed, and she was grateful for the bear spray that had scared the lion away. From that day on, Leanne always made sure to bring bear spray with her when she went into the woods. She never forgot the feeling of fear and helplessness that she had experienced during the attack, and she wanted to make sure that it never happened again. And that is the story of how a brave young girl was saved by her dog, Park, from a lion attack. We can learn many lessons from this story. First and foremost, we should always be aware of our surroundings. Even when we are out for a simple walk, we need to pay attention to the signs around us. If Leanne had not paid attention to the heavy footsteps behind her, she may not have been able to react in time to save herself. Secondly, we should never underestimate the power of a dog's bark. Dogs have been selectively bred for thousands of years for their barking ability, and it can be an incredibly useful tool. In this case, Balt's bark was able to scare off the lion and protect Leanne from harm. Finally, we should always be prepared for the unexpected. No matter how routine a task may seem, we should always be ready for anything. Leanne was fortunate that she had her dog with her that day, as well as the presence of mind to use her bear spray when needed. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there.